live stream today. I'm pumped up because we're going to have my buddy Gerardo, the guy that painted my bike, coming onto the stream. But before we get into that, as always, let me know where you're watching down below in the chat. And I got a couple things to say here. So, coming up pretty soon here in May, I think we're about 2 weeks away. Well, I'll be in Columbus, Ohio with Robert Simmons doing his practice sessions Saturday and Sunday. So hopefully I get to see some of you guys there. I know some of you are already going. Next, June 16th through the 18th, I believe, I'm doing the lock and lean course to get a little bit better at my slow speed maneuvers. So that's awesome. And then also, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, go ahead on Facebook, look up Jogo Motorcycle Adventures, and make sure you join that group. We're really starting to build a good community in there, and I share a bunch of stuff that I do that I don't share on YouTube all the time. And I make the events for all my live streams in there so that way you have a good reminder. And lastly, as you can tell, as always, this stream is sponsored by Eagle Light. I want to give a huge shout out to them for always sponsoring this stream. They make amazing LED lights for your motorcycle. So make sure you check them out because they are giving away a $50 gift card to their website that you can use towards some more lights. So, sorry, brain fart. It's been a while. But anyways, we're going to bring in Gerardo, and we always create an intro for our guests. So let's go ahead and roll the intro and bring him in. What is going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me here.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
So let's dive down into the chat real quick, see who we got in here. Of course, we have Karen in here. She's always here, and she's saying that she's not much for skulls, but the detail on Sheila, from what I can see, is captivating. Thanks, Sheila. We got Lee Sturges in the house. Lee's always here. Finesse the Challenger, another content creator. Thanks for coming, Finesse. Riding and Wrenching, our neighborhood heckler, which he said he's not going to heckle the guests this time. So we appreciate it. And then we got my wife in here. Always good to have her get out of work and actually watch the stream once in a while. And we have Jimmy the Bull from Youngstown, Ohio, not too far away from me. And Unbreakable Newsome, the bike is beautiful. Hey, the bike's beautiful because of Gerardo over here. So, all right, Gerardo.
Yeah,
so
you came with the idea for that bike, man. It's not. You got to give yourself some credit. It's all. Sometimes I do a nice job, but the idea is all to the customer. I just look good, but the customer gives me some good ideas sometimes.
Hey, I didn't 100% come up with all those ideas, but so for the first question here, just tell us a little about yourself and your company.
So I'm an artist, as you can see. There's a mess back there. It's a common theme among artists. I'm just painting a huge computer over there, and so basically my style of work is photorealism and realism. So when I work, when I do my artwork from a distance and from a, not really close on your nose, but from a certain distance, the work starts looking like a photo. So that's why they call it photorealism, because sometimes some people can confuse it. But as a business, I work with a lot of bikers. In my opinion, in my experience, bikers, they love custom artwork more than any other people that I work with. Like I do paintings for like like a canvas art or like a panel or portraits or things. Bikers are my favorite because those are the guys who always want something cool, and and they're willing to put the money where, where what they want. So that's basically my, everything that I paint. It's for work.
Mm.
Thankfully, and thanks to guys like you, you got me, you got me into this business. So yeah, that's pretty much my business. My here in the studio is where I work, and this is pretty much, where I make the magic happen, and when I go through the struggles right here. But it's also, it's if I wasn't doing this as a business, I think I'll anyways be doing this because, once sometimes I feel like I couldn't do anything else. You know,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I
So
answered the question, but I
no,
shot
you
everywhere.
did. You did. You did. So that leads me into question number two. So what inspired you to get into airbrushing?
I mean, um, I was lucky that my mom put me to study when I was like 10 years old, and I was taking some off school classes. They were like drawing classes and very to the book kind of classes, because I used to like doodling, like almost every kid. And on in those classes, somebody mentioned about different things like oil paints, acrylics, airbrush, and I had watched a movie. Uh, it's Blood by Blood. I mean, I was 10 years old. I shouldn't be watching that kind of movie. Even an adult shouldn't be watching that. But there's a guy there who's doing a mural with an airbrush, and that thing got stuck in my mind for a long time. And when I heard about airbrush in the classes that I was taking, I just I just basically got hooked. I remember uh, basically fighting with my mom because I wanted an airbrush. And
Mm.
and at that point, she bought. After a while, I won the fight. Of course, you know how it is when with the kids. And now I
Yeah.
have kids, so now I'm on the other side. But uh, she bought me the first airbrush, and it was like $350 for the whole package. And I remember like I couldn't stop. I couldn't sleep that night. I was just looking. I couldn't use it. I mean, like if anybody has used an airbrush, um, you'll understand how awkward it is to use them. But I would look at it, for a couple of weeks, and I was just in love. I just wanted to learn how to paint, and and that's really what got me interested. The love for the tool drove me to want to learn how to use it and how to control it and how to make things with it that I could be proud of. And you know, here we
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, how did you learn how to paint
So
like that? Because it
so
can't be easy.
oh yeah, I mean the airbrush is just like any other tool. As a matter of fact, a lot of the paintings I do is not just airbrush. It will be acrylic, it'll be oil. Not on bikes though.
Mm.
On bikes is always acrylics, but it's just a different type of brush and it works differently. But everything else that I learned from studying how to draw and how to paint basically applies to it. Um, as I got older, I had a job and I started making money, so I could afford my own studies. So I started taking classes, like watching DVDs, whatever I could find. Corey St. Clair, Drew Blair, which is a huge artist
Mm.
in the airbrushing area. He's really good, and I learned a lot from him, from his techniques. But also at the same time, I was always curious about learning acrylic and also how to paint with oils. So all of that is basically a combination of what I do. It's not strictly airbrush. I bring into the paintings a lot of other things. But yeah, it's been a lot of workshops, a lot of besides the most formal studies that I had probably was when I was learning how to draw, and I took those courses when I was in my teen. Probably
Okay.
by 16 is I started around 13 years old, and I finished around 16. So it was like a 3-year program.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe because I was so late with every homework, and other than that, it was just me that gave me like a foundation. But from there, it was me like seeing other artists and wanting to learn from them and copy what they were doing, so that I could probably learn a little bit of what they were doing, you know. uh,
Right.
yeah, so that's basically the story how I learn. And other than that is it's making my own discoveries, my own practice, you know, just do it and see what works. That's,
Right.
yeah, trial and error.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So if you guys haven't seen my bike yet, I actually put together a nice little video. I cut up one of Gerardo's videos of him in the process of painting my bike. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. It is, and I remember you released a couple videos while you were in the process of doing that.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I stopped. I said, "That's my bike right there." So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go to the chat real quick here. I know we had a question. Let's see here. Mike W's in the house, by the way, and so is Miss Jenny. And be the boss of your motorcycle, Robert Simmons, the man that I learned how to actually ride my motorcycle. So I appreciate you being here, Robert. But back to the question here. Miss Jenny asks, have you heard of Jeff Crank of Crank Sign? He does airbrush art as well.
No, not particularly. Maybe I've seen his work, but I don't remember. Yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
definitely I'm gonna look him up after this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And then Writing and Wrenching wants to know, can you help create logos?
um, the short answer is no. It requires a different kind of mentality, different kind of approach. All the
Mm,
logos, I have other business too, which are e-commerce business,
okay.
um, and all the logos are done by somebody somewhere else. You know, it's
Right. Right.
a lot goes into a logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, Finesse the Challenger does logos, so there you go, Q.
Oh yeah.
He'll
See,
help
that's
you out.
that's what I'm talking about. We got to help each other.
Yeah, yeah, it's all
Yeah.
networking.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's roll into the next question here. Question 3: is there anything that you're unable to airbrush? Because I know in the intro you've painted paintball masks,
Yeah.
PlayStations, computers. I mean, is there anything that you can't?
There probably is. I'm having trouble thinking about it because I've done a lot of things. The only thing if somebody calls me wanting to do a T-shirt or something, you know, my short answer is I don't do that. I can't. But it's
Right.
not because I can't. It's just because I'm gonna spend usually the same amount of time on something as a T-shirt as something that
Mm,
is like a leather jacket, for example. And you know, they don't last. To me, it doesn't have the same value. So, you know, for most people, they're not gonna pay this. They're not gonna pay the same amount of money. So, I'd rather put my effort where I can make the biggest impact. You know, but
yeah.
but probably the toughest, the most difficult thing I painted is that rubber mask. Um,
Okay.
because you know, as soon as you squeeze or bend the mask, you'll have the paint flake off. So I was a I was a professional, and I say I was because you need the certifications to be active. I was a
Mm,
professional automotive painter 10 years ago. I was the head painter of a car star in Connecticut, and I learned a lot of how to paint different things, you know. So I know a lot of different materials, so I was able to paint that mask. And afterwards, I mean, that's not the first one we painted. We painted some other test ones, and we did like a test. We shot like 900 paintballs to it, and the only damage that we could do to the paint was to break through the mask. That yeah,
Oh man.
so I can say it was pretty successful. And I spoke to that client probably like 6 months ago, and he says it's still going good. So I'm
That's
happy
awesome.
because it was an experiment. I told him, we're gonna do the best we can, but I don't know the longevity. I don't know how much that's gonna last.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
because I have seen that you've painted like that leather vest, and
yeah,
I was thinking to myself, that unless you wear that on only on special occasions, I'd
yeah.
be afraid to take that out, you know?
No, no, that thing, like I abuse everything. Like if you had seen me when I was working on your parts, you would have gotten goosebumps because I know how much you guys love the bikes, but when I'm working on them, it's like I sometimes I use a Dremel to remove paint, and you hear
Oh God, don't
the
tell me that. Don't
and
tell me
then
that.
and then I just think I sometimes I tell people, it depends what technique I'm using,
Mm,
but sometimes I, I have to record that. I think I have some videos on my phone. I'm gonna post it on my page because people don't know the abuse that I put the stuff through, to remove the paint or do something. So
right.
so if I do that while working on it, when it's finished, of course it's gonna take abuse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I make
That's
everything
awesome.
to last.
Right. Right. So now we'll
Yeah.
go.
And it's the materials too. We got really great companies like Createx, Golden,
Mhm,
and pretty much these are professional grade paints. So Createx is actually pretty automotive oriented. So the products they produce are very durable,
mm.
and that stuff is gonna last so so far into the future that
Yeah.
it's the longevity is not an issue unless you decide to scrape it off.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I spent entirely too much money on that to start
Yeah.
scraping it off.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, how's your bike? You still fixing it?
oh
Because
no.
you got rear-ended, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I pretty much got everything fixed on it just in the winter as
Yeah.
we
Cool.
talked. I'm gonna send you my saddlebag so that way
Yeah.
you can fix it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So all
Yeah.
right. So let's move into the question number 4. So what's the process of coming up with the designs for your client?
So just looking at the comments here, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's believe it or not, that's my favorite part because I don't know if you remember, but we started speaking. It always starts with a phone call. Sometimes
Right.
people, excuse me, sometimes people want to talk about prices on text messages, messenger, or whatever. You can't do that, because I don't know what the heck you want. So it's plain and simple. I try to be as respectful as possible because, you know, uh, but it's all about discussing with the client. So as soon as we begin talking on the phone, it's all about what do you want, what kind of pictures you have in mind, what parts of the motorcycle you want to paint. So I basically start discussing those ideas, right? And and as soon as we click on something, that's when my wheels start spinning. And as soon as I can see your idea, I'm all about like let's say for example somebody wants a joker, to make it simple, and somebody
Mhm.
wants to do a whole bike. It's all about making sure it's cohesive, especially if you're doing a theme all around the bike. It needs to make sense, because when you park that on a show, it when people start walking around, that's what they do, they look around everywhere. It
Right.
needs to be cohesive. It could also be telling a story. So that's the first thing to come up with an idea. I need to talk to the client to see what they're wanting to do, and from there it's all about making sense, that it's not just like a patchwork here, patchwork there, but it's all blended. If you remember on yours, it has like a color theme. You got the skulls going all over the place, so it
Right.
creates a theme, like a skull theme, but it also has color. It has the blue, and only in the front we have the flag, the red. Remember? So
Yep.
off the front we went towards the back so that all of a sudden you don't have a red patch somewhere that people are like, this doesn't make sense. You see it on the front,
Mhm.
it's both sides, but then you don't see that in the back. So coming up with the artwork, right? Initially it's up to the client, and it's up to me to make sense of that idea and make it better so that we can go farther, and make something that it's unique and it's cool, because the last thing we want to do is it's some kind of work. It's like you put
Right.
this many weeks into it and then people are like that's I've never had that happen, but that's what we always try to avoid, because the reality is when you do a bike, man, you want to show it off. I want to show it off to you as my client, and I want you to show it off whatever you do with it. So definitely before contacting an artist is important to have at least a general idea. Let's say you're a football fan, at least have that in mind. Maybe you don't know exactly what the final artwork will look like, but that's what we discuss. That's what we talk about. Maybe a guy on the tank throwing the ball at somebody over there in the saddlebag. It's that is ready to catch the ball. I mean, that's I'm getting out of my I don't getting out of the lines here, but it's all. I have a very visual. When I'm talking on the phone, I start like visualizing, imagining what the painting is gonna look like. So that
Mhm.
probably sums up everything that I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
So,
we. Yeah.
yeah, I think, do you have the volume up on your end over there? I got
Who?
some echoing going.
Oh, me.
I think so. There we go.
Is it better
Oh,
now?
kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
a little
Cool.
bit.
Cool.
Yeah, but
So
anyways, when
yeah.
we were working on my design, I I had some pictures in mind. Actually still getting the echo over there.
Okay. How about now?
Uh,
Let
a
me
little
wear some
better.
AirPods. Let me wear
Okay.
AirPods. Yeah, because I'm using the speakers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, your microphone was picking it up. But
Yeah.
when we were coming up with the design for mine, I didn't really have an idea of what I really wanted. I sent you some pictures, we texted a little bit, and then when once I was locked in, I had to pay you a small fee just so you could do the design, so that way you're not wasting your time. And it was really a seamless process because then you came back with the design,
Yeah.
and I don't even think I had to change anything, honestly, because it looked awesome. And then Miss Jenny says,
Yeah. I
right,
think I still have those designs somewhere in my computer.
right, yeah, I mean that was absolutely awesome. Finesse the Challenger says, I have a pair of helmets I'd like painted. Finesse, his his website is in the description of this video. Check him out. He's on Facebook. He's got a good Facebook page, so make sure you contact him. Let's see what else we got. Miss Jenny says, is it okay to ask how much Joe's bike artwork was? An idea for that quality of art. I believe mine mine was a little
Just give me a
expensive
sec.
because I had to ship a bunch of parts, but I think mine was around, I think it was like $2,200 with shipping and everything. Oh, I mean, I saved up for it for sure. I
I
don't
think
know.
I'm getting like a few seconds delay, so I just changed my AirPods. I don't know. Can you
Okay.
can you get me up to date?
Oh, Miss Jenny was just asking how much my artwork was for the
Oh,
bike, and I told her I believe it was around
so
$2,200,
so we
including
we
me shipping.
we did your whole bike. So as far as I remember, and there's a whole record on my website of everything I painted. It was like 55 by the time we finished everything, because not everything had artwork, but we did the whole bike. Remember? Yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah,
clear coated it because it used to all
yeah.
be flat
It
black.
was a flat bike, so we had to do the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was around 55. I
Oh wow,
definitely,
I was way
yeah.
off.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, it's What is the other question? I was having a really bad delay, like for like 10 seconds.
Oh, Finesse the Challenger was just saying that he had a pair of helmets that he'd like painted. So I told him to make sure to hit you up.
Yeah, definitely. You see that over there? I just finished those two over there.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. And then you got to keep that helmet forever. I mean,
Oh yeah. And
all
don't
right.
wear it. Just put it on the wall. Don't never wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hope you never have to use it.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's move into question number 5 here. Now, what do you think the biggest challenge is when it comes to airbrushing, as far as maybe like doing the projects or just a part of the process of painting?
So for me, because I already know the technical side and I'm pretty well versed on working, for me, the most difficult part is coming up with the design. From there, I pretty much know the technical way of doing the artwork. But in general, let's say if that wasn't the challenge, let's say somebody else or me before then, it's definitely doing the artwork. I mean, you definitely need to be to a level that you have almost perfect mastery of the medium you're working, so that you can go step by step and never make a mistake through the painting, which is, it takes a lot of experience, or else you work back and forth. And I think that's actually one of the most difficult parts about airbrushing. Let's say, for example, like that Star Wars PC that I'm painting over there. So it's knowing what to paint first. The more complicated a painting gets, you want to be very clear what the steps are going to be. Like, you know, it's simple once you know it. You start from the background, then you work your way through the foreground, and finally do whatever the main subject is.
Mm.
But the challenge is being in a stage that you're working back and forth. So you work on something, and then you realize you got to go back to fix something, and then you realize you got to come back here to fix what you just did, and it keeps you in this constant loop of reworking. So that
Uh,
is, learning not to do that is actually the tricky part.
okay.
So
Yeah.
basically, you save a lot of time, and the work looks more crisp. Or else you can see the mess you create by being back and forth, and then you'll see like the artwork looks mushy or or
Yeah.
messy or something. So yeah, that's the one. But the other one, like I said, on the design
Hmm.
is, like your design. I think it was fairly simple compared to building a whole scene. So that's why I said, once you have the mastery of the painting, it's actually creating the designs. Because I can make you fall in love on the phone with an idea, but it's actually really hard to make that idea physical, to bring it from your mind and what you're telling me and what I'm promising you into an actual thing that you can look at and say, okay, this looks like what you were talking about. So that is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why you do that. Like you come up with the idea through your computer software,
Yes.
because as you said, it would have to be so difficult to try to explain something that you're going to do with just words, and then the customer's just like, this nothing like what I wanted.
So
So,
so that's why some of the paintings I do are, I'm not cheap. I'm not the cheapest. I don't work on price. I work on quality.
hmm.
And that's part of my process for working, because the designs are also, it's also a communication tool, that we are on the same page. And when I go to do the paint, and I told you this when we were doing your bike, you know and when we have the Photoshop designs, it's easy to make changes, and for us to give feedback to each other. You as the client, you tell me, oh, I love that. And or if you want to move something around on Photoshop, it's easy to change a couple of things, make it bigger, make it
Mm.
smaller, move it one way, twist it another way, do something, right? But once you start doing the painting, you're done. That's it. So if I don't tell you what is it gonna look like, then you might be surprised. And I know a lot of people that work like that, and I hear the stories, and they are
No.
always horror stories, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so it's peace of mind, you know. It's a fun thing to look to have a preview, but it's also peace of mind that whatever money you're investing, whatever money you're paying for the artwork, you know that you have a clear idea that you're getting something that you're gonna love. It doesn't come 100% like the design, but as you know from experience, it comes really close, like 90-95%. It looks better. Like I told you, it will look better on the bike than on the
Yeah,
design,
yeah,
and I try to deliver on that. Yeah.
yeah. And the one thing that drawn me to you was in backstory. The way I found him was just scrolling on Facebook, and I was in the market of trying to find somebody to paint my bike. But one thing that stood out about you is everything that you paint almost looks real. So people can't believe that it's not like it's kind of insulting when they say this, but they think it
Yeah.
was like a sticker or something
Yeah.
that I put on there. They're like, man, that's airbrushed on there. I'm like, yeah, that's airbrushed.
Yeah, and
And
hence the need for the cameras, because you got to prove that you did it.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Lee Sturgis says, I guess it would be easier if someone just brought you a picture.
Sometimes yes,
Yeah,
it's a snap like that, and
right,
and you know, like if you want a portrait, there's no other way. You know, sometimes I've done
right.
how do you call this, memorial paintings. You know,
Mm,
maybe the son passed away or the wife or somebody. You know, I always try to go beyond just doing a portrait because it can look very cut out.
hmm.
But you know, it's if you bring the picture, it's way easier. Half the work is done.
Okay. All right. So for my next question, this is going to help out a lot of us, but what's your best advice on how to keep the paint on our motorcycles looking brand new?
So you're lucky because you got gloss clear. So
Yeah.
from that, I'm telling you, from the denim guys, you know, the flat clear guys,
Mm,
automatically I'm just calling you unlucky. And you know from experience that once you get a denim finish, you got to babysit it. You cannot even look at it the wrong way because it's gonna get a mark or something, right? But so you know the artwork is nothing different than the regular paint your bike. Actually, it's I was gonna say it's nothing different than the paint the bike comes with, but actually not true because the clear you get after doing the work is better than the clear that you get with the bike. Every time I grab a brand new part from a Harley or an Indian or whatever, I work a lot on those bikes, so that's my experience. As soon as I just sand it with the sandpaper, I can see plastic or I can see a primer or something.
mm,
So if you were to polish one of those parts, you're gonna burn through the clear so fast. But when we do the artwork, we actually do like three clear coats because I work with thick paint. Once you see the painting, it all looks so slick and so flat. But under there are mountains of paint, you know. So those are
right.
buried with clear. So you can polish the heck out of it, and you're not gonna burn through it. So you know, when you just get the paint, we recommend everybody recommends the clear manufacturers recommend don't put wax, you know, some kind of wax on fresh clear cut because it's gonna mark it, and I've done it in some parts from being stupid. So and I come the next day, you know, for me it's not a problem. I can just polish it out,
Right.
but I come the next day and it actually it's sort of like stains, you know, like when you like if you drop coffee on a
Hmm.
piece of wood, like raw wood that doesn't have any finish on it, it will stain it. Similar to what happens on the clear, but it just stays on top, you know. Uh, so that's the only recommendation. But any shop will recommend that to you. Don't go and put wax just as soon as you get the parts.
Okay.
Other than that, you know, let's say 5 years. What is it like? Like your bike, like we did it like 5 years ago, right? So long ago. So
I can't even remember
yeah.
anymore, man.
Yeah, so at that point is really when you want to do things to, you know, to the clear because you already used it. You've been mounting the bike. Maybe you got some surface scratches from your pants rubbing the tank or whatever, or
Mm,
something, or just from wiping it, because you collect dust, and when you go wipe it, there's actually a really fine sandpaper that the dust creates. So eventually you're gonna have those little marks.
mm,
Then you can just grab an orbital polisher and use some kind of rubbing compound. Usually those things come in step one, step two. If you are crazy, you can go step three. It's not necessary with the orbital polishers, because those things sometimes at step one it just looks amazing. Step two it just looks like glass, and step three is for the guys who need a placebo. Just they just know that they
yeah.
did step three, but it doesn't really make a big difference. So you can do that, with anything that I paint, because it will have enough clear there so that you can make it look exactly as how I gave it to you.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh,
it's there's no difference than any other automotive part.
okay. Now, what do you think about? So, what I ended up doing is I ended up getting that protective film put on the
Yeah,
fender and the
good
front
point.
fairing. You think that's a good thing to have on there?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That is a good point. It's called the 3M Shield. It's called
Mm,
3M Shield. I don't know. Maybe other brands make it too, but that's what I used to use at the shop where I used to work.
okay.
They call it 3M Shield, and when it says 3M in the beginning, it sounds serious, so it's good. So so it's called 3M Shield. Some manufacturers call it bra, like a 3M bra, like a woman's bra, but for the car, you see it in some bumpers, like some old Lexus and cars like that.
Hmm.
That's the same stuff you're talking about, for anybody that doesn't understand. So basically, that 3M shield, it's perfect for the front end, because that's where you get all the little bullets in the highway, all those little
Right.
chips, all those little stones. So the 3M shield is like a thin piece of rubber that's just gonna bounce right out. So
Yeah.
putting it in the front is necessary, especially if you're like Joe that drives like 200 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but but that's good for the front, like a fairing, the fender, but not
Mhm.
so much on the back, because that's to protect you from the chips on the highway, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good point.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I figured I spent all that money on that
Yeah.
beautiful paint job, and I think they only charged me about $80, and I think it had like a 10-year warranty on the film, and I said, it's going to be worth doing all that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
And
the,
then
the nice thing is that when that looks bad after a while, you can just replace it and it will look brand new again.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep. We got Andrew Schultz in here. He's always here. Appreciate you showing up, brother. Sorry you're late. Hey, better late than never. That's why we got the replay. You can always watch
Yeah.
the replay. So, okay. So, on to question number 7 here. What do you enjoy most about being an artist? Because you're not only an airbrush artist, I mean, you're
Yeah.
full blown artist.
Yeah. Man, when they tell you that, I don't know how the heck they say it, but the thought goes along like, what makes you wake up in the morning, jump out of bed in the morning. When I'm working, the first steps, like this one behind me, I hate it, because that's an uphill battle that you got to break through. But once you're like a couple days into the painting, man, it's like sometimes I sleep and I'm thinking that I'm painting. I love it. It's I don't know what I love the most, but I think everything, through the whole process is it's like a good, you know doing things with your hands is it's a good feeling. You feel, the thing about painting is you feel so present. You are so in the moment. You don't get a chance to be worrying about anything. So your mind needs to be focused. I don't know what to compare it with, but it's that's one of the addicting feelings that you get from painting. And another thing that I love about why I love being an artist is, everything, almost everything that I paint is for customers. It's for, for somebody who is paying me. It's commissioning me. That's how they say it in the serious world. But somebody is, it's paying me to do artwork for them. So a huge reward that I get is to deliver them something that they'll be impressed with and happy, and hopefully sometimes I try to blow them away, as much as
Right.
possible. And something that I really do, and I think this, I got addicted to this, is to do so much detail that when you look at the art from far away, it looks good, but the closer you get, the more you keep finding.
Mm,
Because I've seen art that the closer you get, and I mean most modern art is like that. The closer you get, the more it falls apart. And it's a style, it's like an impressionistic style.
mm.
But I like the other direction. I like to just pack it with so much unnecessary details that it's like a high resolution picture that you just keep zooming in and you see more. But
Yeah.
yes, I love that. I love the process of painting, and I also love you know, the experience you get, because this is like it's like a trade, let's say, in the old times, this is like a trade. So I love the experience of working closely with people.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you you're doing a job that doesn't even feel like a job because you
Yeah.
love doing it, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Most of the time it doesn't feel like a job. A couple days,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, you'll have those days. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. So, uh, before we get into the next question, well, actually, I'll bring the question up because I already know the answer of this one. So, what what's like a brief description, and then I'm going to roll a video.
Yeah.
What's your favorite project you've ever worked on?
Man, it's gonna be one of the most realistic ones and the most expensive ones sometimes. But yeah, man, I love the whole experience of doing that computer that with the Stranger Things theme on it.
Okay, keep that in mind, guys. He painted a computer for someone from Stranger Things, and I have a little video that I cut up together. So let's take a peek at it. That completely blows me out of the water, man. Like
Yeah.
that's so cool. I don't watch Stranger Things, but I mean that's an awesome painting.
I always like to brag about having to watch Stranger Things for work because I watched the whole thing back to
Okay.
back. Yeah.
Now, did you watch Stranger Things before you ended up painting that?
Most of it. I had to skip some episodes because there's so much. And it kind of sucks because I also had to spoil a lot of the surprises, because I was looking for the best scenes, and also understand the story so that the painting made some sense.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
how did you end up getting hooked up with doing painting that computer?
So that I painted that computer for Overkill Computers. That's a company here in Florida that they build, like their name says, Overkill Computers. These guys build insane computers. I went to their shop and I couldn't believe the computers they build. If I mean, the computer that is behind me is it's huge. Like you can fit so many different video cards into it. So many, like these guys build like hundreds of RAM gigabytes, RAM memory with the hundreds of gigabytes in them. Sometimes these guys build two computers in one case that it just works like one computer. So it's something that really blew my mind. So I was really happy to start working with these guys. It was just one project, but then they loved it. So of course we just continue painting as much as we get.
Yeah, now you got to talk them into giving you a computer so
Yeah.
that way you can use it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure those computers aren't cheap
Oh,
with all the components they're putting in there.
those things are in the tens of thousands.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Just,
believe it.
just the artwork is multiple thousands.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when they send you those computers, do they? I would hope they take all the internals out. They just give you like the cabinet of the
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah. That's just the case. No wires, nothing in it. It's just that's like 50 pounds back there, and it's
Oh
just
my
the
god.
case. So imagine when these guys and they do like water cooling and some crazy stuff that I didn't know about. They
Mm.
put all kinds of lights in them, program electronics in there so that they put screens in the glass. I don't know what these guys do, man.
Oh well.
So yeah, I mean those computers must be at least some 120 pounds, so I wouldn't take that much.
Wow.
Yeah, no, just the case, and also it gives me more freedom to be more messy, because painting is messy. So
Mm.
imagine getting overspray in the fine components. Those things are
Oh no.
thousands of dollars. So I'm not gonna take that, and they wouldn't take that risk either.
Yeah, especially with all those intricate parts in there, you probably get one little splatter in there and something will stop moving and
Yeah,
not work.
and
So,
then not painting any more computers will suck.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but no, but I love these guys. They're really cool guys, and they have fun doing their work. It's like I also pick my clients. If somebody is disrespectful and I know that it's not gonna work out, it's better they go find somebody they can connect with because we're all here with limited time, and we need to make
Mm,
the best out of it. You know?
right.
Yeah.
So Unbreakable, yeah, Unbreakable Newsom says that was great. Never watched the show, but I deeply appreciate artwork.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, and then Lee Sturgis says, "Are their jobs too big or too small for you? What's your requirements?"
So I don't have requirements really, but sometimes I might have like a couple, but especially in the winter. I quit painting for more than a year and a half because I moved to Florida. So
Mhm.
then it didn't matter if it was big or small. I was just not booking. But I never I I don't put a size on the project. If I can do it, I'll
Mhm.
do it. It doesn't matter how much it is. I've done projects that are just $100. For me to do $100 project is almost never, because I'm
Yeah.
always doing like bigger budget projects. But if somebody wants something simple, it's something easier to do. I don't care. If I can do the work, I'm reachable. I'm not. I don't put a barrier between my clients and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little off script. What's the biggest project that you've ever done?
So doing, I mean, so that the computer you just played was like a medium project. Uh, that's the one that comes to my mind because I just did it. But in terms of bikes, I did a bike for a guy in New Hampshire. Um, that project was so big that it was only a chopper, but we did the fenders, the tank, and a whole bunch of other parts he added. It's a completely custom build. A lot of those parts were made in Germany just for that bike. It hasn't come out public yet, but that bike also has it's a metal sculpture, a dragon metal sculpture, which is just
Mm.
that is I know it's really expensive, but that bike is never supposed to be ridden. Maybe it'll be ridden for a show or something small, but that's gonna be more like an heirloom. And on that one, it was so big, the work was so detailed that I started in Connecticut and I finished in Florida, and it
Oh
took
wow.
about yeah, it took about 6 months of work, no, like 4 months of work continuous. But the thing is, we skipped some months in between because we were planning so much what was going to be the next move. So it took a lot of thinking. It was the work sometimes is not just being there painting, like what you will think. It's also like thinking and discussing with the client. So that is also work, because you don't just go
Right.
and start painting whatever you want. So it took from the beginning to the end, it took probably some year and 3 months to complete.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's that's
yeah.
nuts.
He's still calling me that he wants to do some other parts, so we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a question here from Miss Jenny. She said, "So is ceramic coat on the bikes okay?" That's what we use on ours. What do you think about ceramic coat?
Yeah, I think it's ceramic coat is cool. It's really good. Just like the same thing with the wax, or any kind of shine. Don't put it when the clear coat is fresh.
Hmm.
So to make sense, clear coat is fresh. The clear coat will dry, you know, just in hours. If you bake it, it will be dry in a couple of hours.
Hmm.
But it cures over a long period of time, like 3 months. So during those 3 months, you don't want to put anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Just leave it alone because the clear coat will still keep releasing gases as it cures.
Hmm.
So during that period, after that period, you can do whatever you want. You can do ceramic coating. You can do whatever you want. Ceramic coating is cool because it will protect you from like dust and fine things like that. So
Okay,
yeah,
I gotcha.
yeah.
So on to our next question here, but I do want to recognize that Kelly B Gliding has entered the building. Kelly B, appreciate you coming in. Another YouTuber. Make sure you go and check him out.
Yeah, well,
But under our next question here. So, what was your worst experience while working on a project ever?
let me think about that one. I don't have a list,
Oh
but
man, must have been a
yeah,
whole bunch of them, huh?
yeah. So no, I think it was it had to do when I spilled paint on when you airbrush, you're supposed to cap the freaking thing, right? So
Uh,
because you sometimes you start swinging it, and one time I was working on a fairing, and because they're curved like that as you move, and also it goes underneath. I spilled paint on the painting I just had finished, so that was probably the worst. In
gotcha.
term, just in creating artwork, because it sucks to having to redo something, because when you fix something you mess more of what is already there, so basically you got to start over.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
it's
and how far along were you on that project when that happened?
so the problem with airbrushing is that when you paint by numbers, you finish one part, you finish one part, you finish one part. So painting is actually not like that. Painting is more like one thin layer, another thin layer, another as if you were stacking pieces of plexiglass, and at the end you can see the whole thing.
Mm.
So imagine you're almost to the top, and then you got to start over again. So
Oh, man.
it's not like you can just start here. You gotta build it back up again. So
Holy cow.
that's why it sucks. Yeah.
So you're pretty far along, almost being done with that project then?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Thankfully, it
man.
was it was a black and white, but I always work on top of clear coat. So let's say you have a really so this tank had a nice like a pearl color on it. But let's say you don't have clear coat and I make a mess, then I also mess up the base coat. So
Oh
that's where
jeez.
you got to work on the clear coat. If you mess up the artwork on the clear, like I did on that one, all I do is I sand it with sandpaper, and the
Mm.
paint will come off. The airbrush paint will come off, but then you have the clear coat still in between, giving you that protection. So you can at least you don't start from base coat. If you have to
Right.
start from base coat, you're oh my goodness.
Oh
I
gosh.
would I would have quit that day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
getting a couple more questions on here. I'll get back to these questions
yeah,
once we open it up for Q&A because we got one more question for Gerardo and then we're going to end up doing the giveaway from Eagle Lights, a $50 gift card. So, question number 10. Do you have any advice for somebody that would be looking into getting airbrushing?
to learn how to airbrush.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So so to learn airbrushing, you gotta be willing to invest. The airbrushes are can be pretty expensive depending on your expectations, But a kit, just the airbrush kit, will cost you something decent. Could cost you from like 300 and upwards. So it's important that your equipment is good, so that any mistakes you make is actually your problem, not your equipment, and you don't have that doubt. So from the equipment point, once you have the equipment, something good, the next important thing is to take lessons. From I actually offer painting lessons to learn to paint the way I paint, but you can study from whatever artist you like, and also the style that you want to learn. You have to take those follow along painting classes, because that's how you're gonna get the most results, the fast, you're gonna get results the fastest. It's almost as if somebody is singing, right? And the teacher is it's singing, and then you gotta mimic, or like repeat what he says. So it's much easier to do that as if you're just guessing. So people say like, oh, that's just like copying his painting. Yes, exactly, that's exactly what it is.
Mm.
That's exactly how I learned. Besides, even from the fundamental drawing lessons, I was copying everything I was told. It comes with the mentality of doing what you're told and copying, because you're gonna get there fast. um, if you take that kind of approach, you can be paintings very decent in just a couple of months. Sometimes you can make your first painting in a week. I've had a student complete his first, from not knowing how to airbrush at all, completing his first painting in like 3 days. Of
Oh wow.
course, of course, it was not perfect. Even my
Mm.
paintings are not perfect, but he went from nothing to up there like in 3 days. I
Wow.
even I couldn't do that in the beginning, and that's the power of learning from somebody else that is ahead of you.
Right. So
Yeah.
you have your classes on your website. How does that work? It's just like you have a set of videos that you have
Yes.
on there that you
Yes.
purchase?
It used to be called fine art airbrush courses, because it's like recorded lessons that people subscribe to, and there it's not just one course. It's right now it's like 5 courses available.
Oh, okay.
Some of them are acrylic painting, some of them are airbrushing, but it's a membership. It's $69 a month, and they can unsubscribe whenever they want. They can join yearly, or somebody can join monthly, whatever works for them.
Mm.
And I'm also working on more content, more courses. But yeah, that website is called paintrealism.com, or there's also a link in my website, gerardoquijada.com. That's my personal website, and that's what I do the bookings through. So if somebody wants to work with me, they'll have to go on gerardoquijada.com, and and they can give me a call from there too.
Okay. So now do you do any like live classes then? If with that
No,
membership?
yeah, I don't do live classes. I find that it's much better when it's pre-recorded, and I still support, if my students have questions. I still, I'm always I'm always available. My phone is there. I speak to my students. They give me a call sometimes, and with this, if they have a question. But it's always better when it's pre-recorded, because you can always go back, or if you want to practice multiple times. Sometimes people want to do like a first attempt and a second attempt and see
Yeah.
if they improved. So if you were doing it live, yes, you can ask questions, but if you don't know what questions to ask, if you don't know what questions to ask in the first place, there's no real benefit.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So make sure if you're interested in learning how to airbrush, go to this guy's website and he'll teach you in 3 days. It's a 3 day guarantee, right?
Absolutely. As long as you do as long as you put the effort, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy the Bull says I couldn't make it past stick figures.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to end up rolling into the giveaway real quick. So Gerardo, if you want to hang tight for a second, then we'll roll it into Q&A. But I'm going to bring it back over to me here for a second. So as you know, the stream is sponsored by Eagle Lights. So we're going to have a quick word from the sponsor, and then we'll roll into the giveaway.
how does Eagle Lights sell safety?
Yeah, we sell lights and safety. We sell plug and play, high grade, high performance lighting for Harley Davidson and Indian motorcycles. At least 3 times brighter than the stock headlight.
Let's go to the back of the bike now and talk taillights.
So we have a bunch of different styles. This one's going to be one of our most popular. It's a strobing taillight. What ends up happening is when you hit the brake, it's going to strobe 3 times to let the people behind you know that you're there.
Harley folks love to customize their bikes. They love different looks. How do you cover all that when it comes to the turn signals and the running lights?
So we have a bunch of different styles. These ones feature full running lights, all 48 LEDs. They light up white, and then they'll also color changes automatically to amber. So you don't actually have to do anything. It's all built into it. Harley and Indian's our main specialty, but we carry stuff from Honda, Triumph, you name it. We have a lot of lights for it.
I know you're concerned with delivering a high quality light that's easy to install. What if there's an issue? What kind of warranty do you offer?
Any of our lights, it's a lifetime warranty. As long as you own it, we'll take care of you.
Can't get any better than that. These lights are super high quality, way better than the OEM lights. They're going to help you be seen, and they're going to help you see out there on the road. Check them out at eaglelights.com.
We're going to try this again. Hopefully it works, because last time it didn't work and we had to resort to plan B. But right now, I'll let you know in about 5 seconds if it's working or not. Type in hashtag Eagle into the chat, and that'll enter you into the giveaway. You only have to enter it once if it decides to work. So let's go ahead. And it is it is not working again, of course. Holy cow. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up a little post-it note. I am going to type a number on there. So we got about 17 people in here. So pick a number from 1 to 25. The first person to say that number in the chat will win it. All right. Oh, we got it. Russell McDonald. Russell McDonald. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys know that I wasn't cheating, because we all know how that works. Window. Here it is. Come on now. There it is. 13 right here. I'll bring it down a little bit lower so you can. Oh, it's right here. 13. Oh, gotta love live streams. So, anyways, we'll go ahead, bring back Gerardo. So, Russell McDonald, make sure you go to my website or email me at contact@jogomotorcycleadventures.com. So that way I have your email, and then I'll shoot that over to Eagle Lights and get you your $50 gift card. We'll give you a little round of applause right here. All right, Gerardo. So right now we are going to open it up for Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop it down in the chat. But I am going to scroll back up to Unbreakable Newsome. He ended up asking, what's your favorite airbrush to use as far as brand? Tried airbrushing it in the paste and discovered it was not the medium for me, but I'm always curious the equipment people like to use. I have zero idea what that means, so I'll leave that to Gerardo there.
So yeah, I mean, the 2 brands I like to use, it's very predictable what I'm gonna say, but it's Iwata. It's spelled Iwata. Iwata. So that's a Japanese brand, and is the most popular, is the most common, it's also the most expensive, but it's also the most reliable. The other brand that I like to use, it's called Harder and Steenbeck. I'm not gonna spell that. Yeah. So Harder and Steenbeck, which if you're into airbrushing, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Those airbrushes are really good too, but I don't the Harder and Steenbeck, I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner, because those airbrushes are way more focused towards fine detail compared to Iwata, which they are really good for fine detail, but they also can handle the bigger blends too. So Iwata and Steenbeck, it's those two are my go-to. Yeah,
Okay. I think that answers it pretty good.
yeah,
Karen also said, she says painting is like polishing nails. I don't know. I don't typically paint my nails,
yeah,
so
yeah. I don't know.
let's see what else we got here. Hold on. I know we just got another one. Got to
What type
scroll
of
down through
paints?
all these.
So there's another one.
Yeah.
What type of paints you
Yeah,
use?
Lee Sturgis asked what types of paints you use.
So the ones you're talking about, DuPont, those are more like automotive paints, like BASF, PPG, House of Color. So a lot of people are familiar with House of Color, because it's a you brag about House of Color, House of Color candy, blah blah blah. But when I do artwork, I basically use golden. I don't know if you can see back here. I use a lot of
Mm,
golden. Those are acrylic paints. I also use Creatix. Just if I run of color on one, I just the other. I'll just use another one. I don't. It's a pretty simple choice for me. Golden and Creatix. The good thing about golden is that they have a whole system. They have the airbrush paint, and they also have the regular acrylic paints. So
okay.
yeah, that's what I like using. I don't go with automotive paints, especially if they are solvent based, because for the fine detail that I do, I don't need a whole system like that. If I was um, if I was doing custom colors, like a whole paint job, which
Mm,
is which is not what I'm doing now. I'm more focused towards the artwork. Then you need DuPont or BASF or RM or whatever brand you want to go with, but I don't.
okay. So they make different paints for airbrushing itself then.
Yes. So the ones you mentioned, like DuPont, those are automotive, like the ones that they
Mm,
do at a collision repair shop,
right.
and they mix all those tints to create a base coat. So that's an overkill for airbrushing. It's
Okay.
yeah. You have to reduce them too much. It's better to buy something that is specialized for airbrushing, unless you work on a shop.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Unbreakable Newsome said, thanks. Appreciate the answer to his other question about the
Ab-
airbrushes.
Absolutely.
Lee Sturgis says Chuck would paint his nails. LOL. So I don't know if you know who Chuck is, but he's my other alter ego biker buddy. So
Okay. Yeah.
the Mike W asked, do you work one job at a time to completion or multiple jobs at different degrees of completion?
So that is super important. I don't I don't do multiple projects at a time, unless I'm doing one for work and one for fun, like personal project.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, because I like to be laser focused, and then I don't like to divide my focus. I think females are more like scattered focus. They can multitask. I can't. And I see more progress quicker if I'm working just in one thing, and that's important because it gives you momentum, and you start seeing progress in your painting, which makes you wake up, like I was saying earlier, makes you wake up the next day and want to continue that. If I have three paintings in the best base layers and it look like crap, it deflates me. So definitely,
Right.
it's my personal thing. Some people like to work differently, but it also helps me to deliver the projects in a timely manner.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how my process is when I'm creating my videos. I shoot all my stuff and I can only do one at a time because your ideas are flowing in that project
Yes.
alone,
Yeah.
and you mix in something else and it just screws it all up.
Oh yeah.
We're
You
kind of
you
alike there.
yeah.
James Williams asks, "Can you do real fire?" Listen, James, this man can paint anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it. So Yeah, I've done real fire. There are guys out there that are definitely better than me,
Mm,
and that's good. Everybody has their strengths. I'm mostly into realistic paintings, scenery,
mm,
or like people love the war scenes. Like I painted a helicopter scene one time, and people really loved it.
mm.
uh, but I do fire, just not something that I do in a regular basis. But I've done some projects with real fire. It's fun.
Okay.
It's more fluid, more. The problem with those kind of projects is you cannot really design it for a client. They just basically get what they get.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
hold on a second. We got something here. We got
Super chats.
a super chat from Jimmy the Bull. Jimmy, definitely appreciate it.
Super chats.
Wrong button. You get 2 super chats sound effects.
Awesome.
Very cool. I appreciate it,
Oh,
brother.
yeah. He's bulldozing his way through, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So
just got
at
everybody.
least, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Lee Sturz says he just got every husband in trouble for laughing at that comment.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it is how it is. My wife can cook, can work, can tell me everything that I gotta do, and all at the same time. I cannot even listen to her.
Yeah, I know my wife gets irritated with me. She's like, I literally just told you to do this.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
my
don't
mind
remember
is
what
on
you
the
said.
painting. I'm just like, how am I gonna do that? I'm there, but my mind is somewhere else.
Right.
Same. Uh,
Yep. Jimmy the Bull says, thanks for the interview. Good stuff. No problem, brother. Appreciate you guys watching. All right. So Gerardo, it looks like the chat's slowing down, but before you go, I'm gonna open the floor to you and let us know where we can find you, all your social medias and whatnot.
yeah, definitely. So my personal website is gerardoquijada.com. Yeah, just like you got it there. And my lessons are also are available on that website. So if you go there, you can find them. They'll give you a big button there you can click on. And on Facebook and TikTok, Instagram, and pretty much everywhere my handle name is Gerardo Quijada 777. So if you type that in, you should be able to find me in all the major social medias. Also on my YouTube channel, I believe that's the same handle.
Yeah,
So
it is. It
I
is.
got a YouTube channel as well, which I post a lot of my projects, and you can keep track of what I'm doing. Sometimes things will change. Sometimes it'll be very realistic. Sometimes it'll be more like a lesson because other people follow me as well that are trying to learn, and also people who want to hire me also find me there. So you're gonna see content that is related to painting, but it goes different directions.
Awesome, awesome. And
Yeah,
again, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure and definitely be in contact
yeah,
with you.
likewise,
And
man.
yeah, no problem. So, all right, Gerardo, I'm gonna roll out the outro here. So, thanks for coming
Yeah,
on. You can stick around. I'll talk to you after.
yeah,
But I
definitely. Hey, thanks a lot for having me, man. I appreciate it.
no problem, no problem.
Take.
All right, guys. So I just want to thank everybody for joining the live stream. And if you're watching the replay, I'm going to put a playlist right here and check out some of the other live streams that I've done with other YouTubers. It's been an awesome time. So, as always, this is Joe Go with Joe Go Motorcycle Adventures. Until next time, ride on.